Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way.
Hey, it's Christoph Wrights of the Poet Life Podcast, and I am very excited to have Kendrick Youngblood onto the episode. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, most definitely. Let me tell the folks how I came into contact with Kendrick Youngblood. So I was on Facebook, and I think I was following a friend of mine, or an associate, a poet friend of mine, Breeze the Poet, I believe from Richmond. And I think he shared the fact that this gentleman here, Kendrick Youngblood, reviewed one of his poems on his YouTube page. And when I saw that, I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about, man. You know, because in building the poetry industry, I'm looking at the different areas where we can implant ourselves, poets, right? And all through YouTube, there are people reviewing raps, songs, movies, but nobody's reviewing poems, you know? And so when I saw that, I said, thank you, dude. Thank you. You know, and this was months ago. I didn't know how to get in contact with you. I don't know why I didn't know how. This is the internet. But I just kept watching your videos, man, and you're blowing up with them.
Thank you so much. Yeah, one of my main goals ever since I started the channel was to make poetry more mainstream. And obviously, I'm one person. I can't do that alone. But I've loved poetry ever since I came across it. The very first poem I ever came across was by Rudyard Kipling. It was called If. And I just fell in love with it from there. One of the most motivational pieces of art I've ever come across. And like, I really needed it at the time. And I told myself from then on, I would do everything in my power to make poetry just as mainstream as like the music industry is, or like, I don't know, movies, you know what I'm saying? Yep.
We're on the same page, man. We're on the same mission, you know. Our mission and motto is uplifting the poetry community and building the poetry industry. You know, the community is strong. The community has been here for decades and centuries, really, you know, but the industry is in its infancy, you know, and so it's these types of moves that have to be made to build the industry, you know, plug ourselves in where things are already happening, you know. So I applaud you, man, and the creativity that you're imparting into your YouTube page is on another level, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, most definitely. So tell me, where did poetry come in for you?
Well, so a lot of poets will tell you that the very first time they started writing poetry was when they were interested in a certain someone. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to impress them, you know, with their words. It's cliche, but that's exactly what happened. So after I came across that poem by Rudyard Kipling, I was like, let me give this a shot. There was a girl I'd been crushing on since like the start of high school, and I was a senior at the time, you know. And I ended up finally writing her this poem, just telling her how I felt and stuff. Long story short, because of that poem, I ended up taking her to homecoming and prom. Really wild, like crazy, but that's besides the point. I just realized then that there's a lot of power in words, you know, and I wanted to make use of that, not for my own gain or anything like that, but whether it be for social reform or for just it's true that actions do speak louder than words, but words still do speak, you know what I mean? And we shouldn't take that for granted. So I wanted to make it my mission to enforce that kind of thinking, not like force it onto people, but just push it forward, you know? So
most definitely, for sure. It's so interesting. So that was high school for you.
Yeah.
Around senior year.
Yeah.
That poetry thing works, doesn't it?
It sure do.
Definitely, man. Okay. All right. So from there, where did you go with it? Right. So initially it was for the women,
Yeah.
right? So how did it evolve for you?
I think from there, I started looking at a lot of spoken word as well. And I didn't know if that would be my thing because I'm not really good at performing, but I really enjoyed watching it. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And then at the same time, I had gotten into college at the University of Houston, and I come across a few students that were taking some poetry classes. So I was really interested in that. The introductory to poetry class I took in sophomore year was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life,
really?
ever. The professor, Professor Bancroft is his name. I don't even know where he is now, but God bless that man. I mean, just he made poetry fun. You know what I'm saying? He was
Mm,
one of those people. He was one of those few professors that would not only acknowledge the fact that Black poets historically have just been kind of sequestered to the Harlem Renaissance and are just never addressed again. He made
right.
sure to address them throughout each era of poetry in America, and I so appreciated him for that. Um,
Wow.
things like that really just started making me see that, like, yo, I could really, I want to make writing poetry my thing. I don't want it to just be, to pick up a girl or anything like that. And it wasn't just that to me when I started, but um, I had more intention in my writing from that point onward. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. But you do perform though, right?
I do
Because
perform. Yeah. Oh, I
right.
probably could have gotten to that. I kind of alluded to it, but yeah. So I believe it was junior year of college. Uh, a community had begun at the University of Houston called Kook Slam, and I got to plug them. So you can follow us on Instagram at Kook Slam. But in our first year of being an organization, we're like, okay, we're going to compete in the national college union poetry slam invitational. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mhm.
that is the biggest competition for colleges to compete on a grand stage. And we decided
Mm.
we weren't only going to compete in that competition in our first year, we were going to host it at the University of Houston. And we were holding tryouts. I was so nervous. I didn't even want to do it. My girlfriend had to convince me. She's like, Kenny, no, this is your thing. I know you haven't really tried performing, but you've studied a lot of spoken word. You love it. I know you do. Give it a shot. So I listened to her. You know what I'm saying? I'm very glad I did.
Right.
I'm very glad I
Right.
did. But so yeah, we went through a couple of rounds of tryouts, and I barely made it by the skin of my teeth. Like, they were only going to take the top 3 after multiple slams, and I just barely, by like a fraction of a point, got that 3rd place. So I joined the team. And to make a long story short, actually, no, I have to bring this up.
Mhm.
The youth poet laureate for Houston at the time, Jackson Neal, was our
Mm.
assistant coach. And our head coach was a man by the name of RJ Wright. In my opinion, he's one of the best, if not the best, spoken word artists in Houston. And
Wow.
so with these two coaching us, I mean, the sky really was the limit. We trained like crazy. I've actually gone over this story in one of my YouTube videos of like
Mm.
what it was like leading up to that competition. And we ended up getting 4th place. We got to final stage. So we're in the final round. We gave it everything we had, and we didn't win, but it was really crazy to think that just in our first time competing in that competition, in our first year of being an organization, we got that far. So yeah.
Wow. What year was this?
So this was 2019. Yeah, Cupsy 2019.
Okay.
You can actually find some of our performances on the Right About Now YouTube channel. They were the ones that were tasked with recording the performances and posting them. They didn't post all of them, just like the big bangers. You know what I mean?
Right. 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 Wow. Okay. Okay. So that was your first opportunity, like on a level of that stature, or
Yeah, I had never experienced anything like that. For sure.
wow.
And I've been invited different places since then. Like, that really opened the door for me in various ways. I've been invited
Mhm.
to places to perform, and like, not just invited, I was like featured, so they'd pay me and stuff like that. And that was
Right.
the first glimpse of like, oh, whoa, you can actually make money off of poetry, you know?
There we go.
Oh
Right.
man, that shocked me because up until that point, I had always heard the narrative of like the starving, broke poet or artist in general. And
Yes.
I really didn't want that to be my reality because I knew one way or another I was going to be doing poetry. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, just I have to say, being on that team and doing spoken word, that was my first exposure to the fact that you can actually make money through poetry.
Totally. I've always said if people can make money standing up and telling jokes, if people can make money standing up and speaking, why in the world wouldn't it be possible for a poet who is awesome at words to be able to stand up and do a special, a feature? That makes no sense to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But it takes, people like yourself to create a YouTube channel, a Brandon Leake to take a leap of faith and audition for America's Got Talent, right? Yeah. Amanda Gorman for the inauguration. It's always one person to say I can do that, for others to see it and say, wow, it can be done.
Yeah, I'm actually very glad you brought those two up, because, oh man, I'm just like, they're just stars in their own universe, but I so appreciate them. I've covered them on my YouTube channel before, reacting to both of their poems. I think for Brandon Leake, it was his audition, and then for Amanda Gorman, it was her inauguration poem, of course. But yeah, those two, they're making waves. And I've heard from a lot of people, tell me that they never thought poetry would be something they could connect with. They never understood it, because when they were in school, all they ever heard was Shakespeare. No offense to Shakespeare, the greats, for obvious reasons, but to a lot of people nowadays, they can't connect with that. But when they heard people like Brandon Leake, seeing him on America's Got Talent, not only being the first one to hit that stage on a national televised event, but he won. He won the whole thing. And then seeing Amanda Gorman uplift the nation after some trying times, it's just like people who never thought they'd even consider reading poetry are now reading poetry.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's reality art. It's not just reading poetry from dead people.
Yeah.
These people are alive and kicking and living this life that we are living along with them. And I always saw poets as narrators of life. Yeah. It's like music is the score to life and the soundtrack to life. But poetry, man, poetry is so vast, right? It's education, it's engagement, it's entertainment, and I just want to put that on a billboard, and so people can understand that it is so much more than what people think it is. The stereotypical cadence, of a poet, and that, it is so much more to that, so I'm just excited to again see what you're doing with it. So tell me what went through your mind when you thought about starting a YouTube, or did you start it in that with that purpose to review poems, or did you already have a YouTube page?
So I wanted to just teach and educate people at first. When I made the channel, I made it in 2019, posted like 3 videos. They weren't good at all.
Right.
I loved what I was doing, but I didn't know how to edit a video to save my life. Long story short, I just dropped the channel in general, and I didn't pick it back up until summer of 2020. And I told myself, I am going to do whatever it takes to grow my channel and get monetized, or I'll die trying. Essentially, that was pretty much my motto. And I kept at it until January 2021. I only had maybe, 200 subscribers. And up until that point, I was still giving it my everything. People were even telling me like, "Hey, Kenny, the quality of your work is really good." But like, it doesn't seem to be working. Like, why are you still doing this? And I said, just wait. I'm gonna keep teaching people poetry. I'm gonna keep reviewing books by poets and stuff like that. I'll keep analyzing poems and reacting to spoken word and stuff like that. And I chose to do the reactions specifically because I noticed no one on YouTube was known for doing reactions to spoken word yet. And I was wondering, like, why is there this vacuum? You have YouTube channels like Right About Now and Button Poetry, Youth Speaks, that are posting these amazing videos. And sure, someone who's known as a reaction channel might react to them occasionally, but they're not known for that. Like, why isn't there anybody who's known for that? So I decided to pick that up, and I'm very glad I did, because by the time Amanda Gorman came out with her inauguration poem, I hopped on that immediately because I saw it was going viral, and that took me up. My channel skyrocketed after that. Like, in a matter of it's only been 2 months since then. I'm almost at 6K subscribers, which doesn't sound like much, but considering it took me a year to get to 200, and in just 2 months I'm now at 6,000. Yeah, so I'm really appreciative. I'm appreciative of her for that, for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I knew that if I kept at it, people were going to see value in poetry. It's not just a matter of like my content being good or anything like that. At the end of the day, I'm uplifting poetry, and it's poetry that's good. And I'm glad other people are starting to see that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Wow. January at 200. Now it's March and you have almost 6,000. That's awesome, man. I was just cheering you along the entire time. I was just like, this is awesome, right? Just to see it, because just like you, at first, well, I think right now we only have about 163 followers right now, but it's what I know it's going to blow. It's not if, it's when. Yeah. Right. And I'm just excited to watch your growth and your journey. And then when I reached out to you, so I will suggest, put your IG somewhere. I had to go to your about page and find your IG. I was like, does he have a website, an email or something? And so when I DM'd you on Instagram, once I finally found your Instagram, I was like, all right, cool. He doesn't have a lot of followers on Instagram, so he's going to see my DM. Yeah. That's how I'm able to get certain people on the podcast, because if they have 1 million followers and stuff like that, I'm sure they get 1 million DMs, and so they're not going to see mine. So I was glad that you responded, man. And I just want to know, so what's your format, right? So how did you know to set up the way you set up your channel and your videos?
I really enjoy reaction channels in general. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I started looking at how some of the best ones were doing it, where they position the video that they were reacting to on the screen, how they position their chair, what the lighting would be like, how often they pause it and when, because you don't want to ruin the flow of the actual video you're reacting to, things like that. And finally, I did my best to just be comfortable in front of a camera, because most of my friends know when it comes to me thinking something's amazing, I'm as extra as can be. Like, I'll nearly be rolling on the floor like, oh my God, did you hear that bar? Like, that punchline was nuts. But I noticed, I think in my first reaction, I wasn't being myself, and I felt that, and the viewers can tell too, you know what I mean? So I decided, like, no, Kenny, just get comfortable, relax, just stretch out and be yourself behind that camera and in front of that camera. And so I did. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I'm not a in front of the camera, in front of the lights person, man. And I just said, all right, I'm gonna just do it. And so you get used to it. Sometimes still it's just like weird, but I'm glad that I'm able to actually talk to somebody. It's just you. But you're doing well, man. And so did you have to learn through the comments, through people's suggestions and feedback? Like, because I think I saw a couple of videos and you were saying that, all right, I'm listening to you all. Basically, I'm gonna stop cutting it off so much or something like that to say what I wanted to say. You know, did you learn through the comments?
Definitely. And you can definitely tell the difference between constructive criticism and people just being mean, right? People get behind a computer screen and they just think they're invincible and they can say whatever they want. But there's some people who are very genuine, like, hey, you should try this. The person the person whose poetry or rap you're reacting to, you don't have to worry about them copyright claiming your content. You can actually play all of it. They're usually okay with it, and sure enough, they were. So getting feedback from my subscribers has done a great deal in growing my craft.
Sure. So okay, because YouTube is huge with the whole licensing thing, and taking someone's music and utilizing it or using it into your videos. So they're okay with reaction videos.
So YouTube. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, because do you watch the Mallory Bros?
No.
Okay, that's a YouTube channel. It's, these two African American guys, they're twins, and they react to music. But they were saying that YouTube was hacking down on the amount of song that they can use. They could only use like small clips of it or something like that. Did you come into that?
Yeah. I've actually experienced that myself. When it comes to the reaction videos, if I break things up into small enough clips and incorporate enough of my own original content, usually YouTube won't flag it, and usually the original content creator won't claim my content, which I wouldn't want, of course, because that means they get all the revenue from my videos. But at the same time, I have been copyright claimed before, and it was completely justifiable. And I didn't even fight it anyway. I was doing a poet's analysis of this one rapper's song. I don't know if you know who NF is. He's one of my favorite rappers out now. Definitely check him out. Long story short, he came out with the song pretty recently, and I did an analysis of it. It did fairly well on my channel, but I knew as I was making the video, I'm using too much content. It's going to get claimed. You know what I'm saying? My channel wasn't in trouble or anything. It wasn't a copyright strike, but I was notified before I uploaded the video, you're not going to make any money off of this. And I was like, all right, that's cool. No problem.
So you're monetized. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Let me go back a little bit, because at 200 in January, you weren't monetized, right?
No.
Right. No. Because you need 1,000 subscribers within a 6 months or a year span.
So the way it works,
what's the breakdown?
Yeah. So in order to get monetized, you need to have 1,000 subscribers, period. But you need to have made 4,000 hours of watch time within a 12-month period. So I guess one way to put it is that, like, say December 2020, like at the end of the last year, right? I had 1,000 subscribers, but I didn't have enough watch time. I don't have to get like 1,000 more subscribers. Once you hit 1,000, you've hit that goal. All you have to do is make 4,000 hours of watch time in 1 year. So in a 365-day period. Yeah, and that's pretty much that. That's all it takes. Well, it's no easy thing, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying those are the only two parameters. And like your content can't be like crude or YouTube guidelines, or they won't monetize you.
Got it. So you became monetized February or just recently?
February, yeah.
Wow. How was that feeling?
It was great. It was really, really great, because one of my jobs I've been wanting to quit for a minute. Not because it's not a good job, but I just have too much on my plate. I'm in my final year of university. And these last classes are really tough because I have a STEM major, and it's just been brutal. So I told myself I'm definitely going to quit one of my jobs because I have two while being in university.
Wow.
What am I going to replace that with? I need something that is fun for me, but also isn't as time consuming. So when YouTube decided to make me a partner, well, that solves that. I can finally quit one of those jobs now.
Right. So you have two jobs.
Yeah.
Are you putting yourself through school?
No, I'm not. My parents are helping with that, but I'm working those two jobs to help them with everything else, essentially.
It's your work ethic.
I guess so.
That's what it is, man. College students. I mean, I had a job. I worked at Sears, and I was selling TVs. I was in the TV department. But two jobs, man. That's awesome. That you're in the mindset of, okay, I know I'm in school. I know I have at least one job, but I need a second to make sure that I help with the people that are helping me, which is my family. So I commend you for sure. Now, the time consuming part, the editing, are you editing?
I am. And I never thought I'd be editing my own videos. In fact, when I first started YouTube back in 2019, the 3 videos I posted, it was my friend who was editing for me.
Okay.
But at some point I realized I don't have money to pay an editor. So
Right.
I'll have to learn it on my own. So I went through YouTube tutorial after YouTube tutorial after YouTube tutorial. I'm not even using like a high quality editor. It's a free one. It's called Shotcut. It's nothing special in particular, but I did the best with what I had, and it worked out, I guess,
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think the one I use is Wondershare Filmora or something like that, and it was only $79 for life. So yeah. I don't have Final Cut Pro and all of that stuff. So because that's a lot of money. I think that's like monthly that you gotta subscribe. But either way, you grow. You just start basically. I really believe in just starting somewhere and not waiting for everything to be perfect. Yeah, because you then just be paralyzed. Analysis paralysis, and you're trying to figure out, how can I start? When should I start? What should I do when I start? But I'm just glad that you started, even if it was years ago and you just put 3 videos out. At least it started, and then you could pick it back up.
Yeah.
And
I think what a lot of people think when they start YouTube is that they need to have the best quality equipment, the best microphone, the best lighting, the best tripod. I use this little tripod right here.
Wow.
It's special. My microphone, it's a clip-on. I literally just clip it onto my shirt below where the camera can see, and I just talk. I don't have anything special. And like I said before, my editing software is free, but my subscribers will tell me that they love how I edit. So
nice.
You really don't need the best quality stuff. Of course, eventually I do plan on reinvesting into getting better equipment, because my ceiling can only be so high with the stuff I'm using at the end of the day. But
sure.
Equipment isn't an excuse for not growing. So
yeah, like your poetry, you evolved, you studied, and you watched and you figured it out. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So how long does it take to edit one of your videos? Because you have multiple things that you have to do within your videos. You have to import the video, put it on the screen, and then you got to cut and stop and cut and stop. Like, how long does it take?
Depends on how long the video is. Assuming I'm just giving a poetry tutorial on how to like improve your rhymes or something like that, it might only take 2 hours max. But
only 2 hours max.
Yeah, I'd say. But if I'm if I'm doing a reaction to, there's this guy named Harry Mack that I started reacting to recently, and I plan on doing a poet's analysis of the techniques he utilizes and stuff. His videos are like 20 plus minutes long, so my reaction is going to be closer to 30 minutes long. That's going to take almost like 7 hours, 8 hours maybe to edit, and yeah, so and I just mean straight. I don't just mean like breaks. If I were to just do it nonstop, it'd take 7, 8 hours. And I know with better editing software, it might be a bit faster. Because I like to include like a lot of memes and stuff. I don't know. I like to make stuff that I would enjoy watching, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, you're getting better and better, man. I can tell that you're still studying and learning how to incorporate more into your videos. And man, yeah, we have to continue to talk because I want to learn more as it relates to YouTube. Like, so you're in your 20s?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Gotcha. So you're 22. I'm 38, man. And I have 3 daughters, all 6 and under, wife, full-time job, you know what I mean? And I've made this podcast thing really easy for myself, and COVID really solidified things for me, because before I was out in the streets, getting the brand out there, right? The clothing line and everything. And I had to be at this event, that event. But I wanted to be more at the house with the kids and the wife, and COVID was like, cool, here you go. But then I was just like, okay, cool. Then we need to do a whole lot more online. We got to go fully digital. And that has helped a whole lot. That way I can literally just be in this office. And the most recent episode, I think, with Nina Bruton, she's a poet. My kids, or my youngest, was at the door, and I was just like, hold on one sec. And then I went to the door, and she just wanted to show me her dress that she had on, and I kept it in there. I kept it in the episode just to show them that, look, this is a lifestyle, man. This is the poet life. This isn't, I'm not somewhere at an official studio. It's a studio that I created in the house, man. And so that just shows people that it's possible with kids, with wife, with church, with job, everything, so you just have to get organized and create some systems, So how has that been for you with the hours of editing? How have you been able to organize your life so you can stay consistent? Because you have to stay consistent with the posting and everything, right? So how have you been able to do that?
So one of my jobs is a group home job. So I'm what's called a direct care staff. I go to this facility where the clients aren't able to live on their own, but they can't live with their family either due to some mental handicaps. You could call it glorified babysitting. There's more to it than that. I have to make sure they take their medication, make sure they're taking care of their hygiene, things like that. But at the end of the day, a lot of my shifts are night shifts, which means they're asleep. And I just have to check on them occasionally to make sure they're all right. So during that time, I'm on shift. I'm editing videos, so that helps get a lot of it out the way. Sometimes when I'm doing homework and I need to take a break, or I'm studying and I need to take a break, during that break, I'm editing videos. Let's see, what else might I do? Sometimes, even outside of editing videos, if I need to come up with an idea for a poem, because I still try to write poems and post spoken word on my channel as well. If I'm trying to write a poem, but I'm driving somewhere because I have to do a lot of errands for my parents, I will have a voice recorder on, so I don't have to like text and drive or anything. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'll turn on my voice recorder, and anytime an idea pops in my head, I'll say it and my phone will pick it up. So that's how I kind of write notes on what I plan on writing later.
Got it.
So a lot of just doing two things at once. That's how I go about it.
So you analyze what you already have going on and said, where can I plug this in to what I have already, on my plate?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's what you have to do, and not just say, man, I do so much, I can't do it. And not even think about how you can do it. Yeah, I can appreciate that, man. I can appreciate that. So where do you see this going, right? Where do you see your channel going in what opportunities, like this is an opportunity, that your channel brought about, right? So what do you think this will produce for you?
So one of my hopes was that I could actually do a podcast in the future of some sort. So it's ironic that you reached out to me. One thing I've really wanted to do is have some kind of collaboration with other YouTube poets and stuff like that, or maybe not YouTube poets necessarily, but people whose poems are posted on YouTube. Have them hop on the channel and their content. Another thing I was actually working on behind the scenes. I didn't tell my subscribers about this, and I was going to recently, but something happened. Let me explain. So I was trying to create a social media platform between me and other poets behind the scenes. We had been working on it for a while. I'm not going to say what it's called because of what I'm going to say next. The main organizer who was making it reached out to me and said he really wants me on the team. I told him that I didn't think I could handle it with the YouTube stuff I have to do all the time and school. And him knowing that said, okay, don't worry about it. We'll still invite you to the group, and like every now and then I'll just fill you in on what we're doing and you can like give your input occasionally. Right. So that's what I did. Only for a few days ago, he said that the other people in the group were uncomfortable with how little work I was doing. And I said, okay, but we discussed that I wouldn't be doing much work and you said you were okay with it. Long story short, that fell through, and the project didn't fall through. The project's working out, but my opportunity with that kind of went to the wayside, and he kind of gently, removed. And I'm not upset about that or anything. This isn't me being petty. I'm just saying that was one of the things I was hoping to do, and I still do plan on hoping to do. I still plan on doing that in the future, making some kind of like poetry social media, kind of like Twitter or Tumblr, but for poetry specifically, right? So that's another thing I had in the works. Yeah, other than that, I don't really know where exactly I want the channel to go. I just know what I want it to do.
Sure.
At the end of the day, if I can get people who are into music, who are into rap, who are into movies to start seeing the value and contributions of poetry, then I've done my job,
Right.
So like, even though I'm not a rapper, for example, some of my content lately has been pertaining to rap specifically because I want people to see what studying poetry can do for you, right? I know a lot of people, when I did my analysis of NF's new song, they were like, whoa, I never picked up on any of this. And they started going through a lot of my poetry content and seeing why I was able to pick up on those things. In other words, me reading and consuming poetry allows me to pick up on some of these like double, triple, or even quadruple entendres that exist in these songs that others wouldn't catch otherwise.
That is so smart to say why you're reacting to rap videos, right? Because someone probably already commented and said, I thought you were reviewing poetry, so that just means that there really isn't any value in poetry. But the way you explained why makes so much sense and gives you so much more range now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's somewhat similar to what I'm able to do with poetry. It's disrupting other industries with poetry. So just even just saying a poet reviewing a rap song still makes the connection for poetry.
Right.
So that's a good strategy that you had. Because at first, I think I had that question. I was like, all right, okay. Now there's a lot of poems that it can do, but this was pre Brandon Leake and pre Amanda Gorman. It's just going to take his channel longer because no one knows these poets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, it's going to work, but it's going to take some time.
Right.
Like Brandon Leake was, I think, our 4th episode, season 2 last year. I interviewed him or had a conversation with him. I don't like saying interviewed, but I had a conversation with him the night before his golden buzz. Was it the golden? Yeah, his golden buzzer episode came on.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I can appreciate the grind and the hustle and the consistency. So do you post weekly?
I do. Yeah. There was a point where I was posting like twice a week, even 3 times a week. I had to push the brakes. I couldn't keep that consistently. So yeah, at this point I'm doing once a week, and my subscribers seem okay with that. They obviously want more, but that's the minimum I can do to where they're still satisfied, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, most definitely. In that, because that week comes around quick.
Yeah. Before you know it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's same here. I post on Mondays, but we've also incorporated a blog where our literary host, that's what we call our blog manager, Kelsey Bigelow, she basically summarizes each episode, right? So you can kind of get the cliff notes, because we look at the Poet Life podcast as a resource for poets, right? I want to make sure that we bring on people that are doing things or have done something that they can teach and show the journey and explain that it's possible, right? And that's the main reason why I wanted to bring you on, is because you're the first really to have a channel to be dedicated to reviewing poets' poems and performances and things of that nature, right? So I wanted to be able to show the different lanes that you can go in within the poetry industry, right? Like before all of this, like we knew that it was an open mic, there's a chat book. What else? There's probably one more thing, right? Anthology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for us to show the many facets that you can really tackle. Like I literally see movies, plays. I can see it clear as day, and so I wanted to connect and network with people like you. And so I wanted to ask you, what are the negative comments that you get?
So one of the things I get, and this is just in general, not even just in terms of YouTube, but when I tell someone I'm a poet, they automatically assume I'm a rapper. Yeah, and
right.
I think you know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And that isn't an insult in any kind of way. Like being a rapper, that's really awesome. That's something I don't think I could ever do. You know what I'm saying? That you need to have that it factor for that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if I say I'm a poet, take my word for it, So I've gotten comments like that. I've gotten some people who will say that I just remember this during my during my reaction to Amanda Gorman's inauguration poem. I had some of the most racist, mean comments I've ever gotten on a YouTube video before. And it's because not only am I a Black poet, but I'm also reacting to a Black poet. So that combo, I guess a lot of people didn't take that well. Thankfully, none of them were in my base. That video blew up. So a lot of people who were just being exposed to my channel for the first time were the ones spouting that nonsense. But I made sure to remove all of that, but not because it bothered me, but I was worried that Amanda would end up seeing it one day, and that might like she's a strong person. I ain't worried about her really. At the end of the day, I didn't want that to be what she remembered when she saw my channel. So I made sure to filter those comments out. But yeah, on no other video have I received that much bigotry, to be honest, you know?
Wow.
And I saw it coming. I did. But it was totally worth it, in my opinion. I think people needed her poem, and my followers needed me to bring that to their attention as well. So it was an overall positive.
Sure. Did you prepare yourself for the oncoming negative comments? Because, you know, when you get on YouTube or become a YouTuber, you know that's coming.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't really know how to explain how exactly I prepared. Just a matter of knowing that it was coming was enough.
Right.
Knowing that it's coming without letting it bring you anxiety. That's the way you want to go about it, I guess. Yeah, I still get negative comments for sure. That one was just the craziest. What's really interesting is that it was during that time, one of my subscribers reached out to me personally and was like, hey, I've been feeling really low because there was this book I published that got a really, really bad review. And I'm trying to stay up. I'm trying to stay positive, but it hurts, you know? So the next video I posted after that was how to handle criticism as writers. And it translates to artists in general, the advice I was giving. But I brought up in that video the fact that even the last video I posted, the one that the first one of a few to blow up, I got a lot of comments myself. And I'm sure Amanda Gorman, being where she is now, she's at the top of the nation in terms of poetry. You know, she's the youth poet laureate of the nation. Like that, you don't get there without receiving a lot of negative comments along the way. Yeah, and so I was one of the things I was doing was using the negative comments I received as I weaponized that in a way, I guess you could say, in order to provide another great video, if that makes sense.
Wow. Have they said anything like, you know, like about you, just, you know, just being, because that's one thing that I feared when putting myself out there in front of the camera. And I was just like, and that held me back for some time, you know, and I was just like, I'm not for the negative comments, you know, but I was just like, am I going to let the potential reality of negative comments stunt my growth? You know, and so right when I asked that question, I was like, nah, let's go. Yeah.
I think, I mean, the negative comments come, but if you're just secure in yourself, then they'll come and go. But the real ones will, the real ones' opinions, those are what you should hold on to. That's what I keep telling myself. Yeah, that's pretty much that.
Wow. So you're a YouTuber now.
I guess so.
Is this surreal, or is just like, all right, this is it, let's do it?
When I used to tell people I was a YouTuber, because I would tell them that back when I had 50 subscribers, 75 subscribers, they'd roll their eyes. You know what I'm saying? They look at my channel, they'd be like, oh, okay, you're a YouTuber. All right. Yeah, everybody and their mama. And it's like, no, like I'm grinding on this. I am a YouTuber. Like I identified as one. And now people are starting to take me seriously. Of course, 6,000 subscribers. I'm saying 6,000. I'm rounding up, but it's not like a crazy number. But considering the progress I'm making, it's something I'm very proud of. And now I can say confidently, because I would even doubt when I would say it before, I can confidently say I'm a YouTuber. You know.
Got it. Yeah.
But the goal should always be to be able to say it confidently, even when you have one subscriber or none.
Sure. So now that you're monetized, Is there a strategy to grow? Right? Are you following a strategy? What's what's the plan?
Yeah, so I know certain videos that are bangers for my channel, such as the rap analyses, reaction videos in general.
Mm,
Um, and so I make sure to do every other video as one of those. And
got
then
it.
the others will be teaching maybe, like I said before, how to handle criticism or how to get your poetry published in literary journals. I make sure to tell my subscribers about that. Um, how I got fourth place in the nation with my poetry slam team. I kind of have it staggered that way. So there'll be
Got
a
it.
reaction video, there'll be a lesson video, a reaction video, a lesson video, and I
Got it.
kind of keep back and forth that way. So the reaction videos make me the most money, if I'm being honest. They do, they do, but they
Sure.
draw traffic to my channel, and then people get to know about the other stuff. That's my main strategy. There's also things such as search engine optimization. YouTube has an
Right.
algorithm
SEO.
that, yeah, exactly. YouTube has an algorithm that prefers to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. And the
Right.
two ways to do that is to get people to click on a video and get people to stay on
Mm,
a video. So anytime you're doing that for YouTube, YouTube rewards you by pushing your content out to more people. It gets on the recommended page. Next thing you know, your video's blowing up. So if I want YouTube to scratch my back, I have to scratch theirs. So I make sure that like I spend almost as much time on the thumbnail as I do on editing the videos.
got it.
Maybe not like 7-8 hours, but it takes a couple hours just to make the thumbnail alone. And when it comes to the description box for the video, I'm making sure to put as many keywords as possible. I'm trying to optimize that video as much as possible so it ranks in search. And then one more strategy I do is I look at trends. I'm subscribed to multiple channels that put out poetry content, and I wait for one of those videos that are growing more rapidly than usual for that person's channel, and I try to react to that so that I can like be
Ah,
carried by that wave. Am I letting other people do the heavy lifting for me? Yes, but it is what it is.
the
I got to do
strategy.
what I do. So yeah, that's another strategy I have as well, and that's why like when Amanda Gorman came out with her poem, for example, my video was up the next day instantly because her video
Right.
went viral. So yeah, mine didn't go viral, but I definitely kind of I got lifted by that wave, sort of. So that's one more strategy I use.
Got you. Got you. So I hear the biggest thing is like I know when you did Amanda Gorman's, when they do a search on Amanda Gorman's name, your video came up.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
It does. In fact, I even check myself. One other strategy I do is I go to an incognito tab because it doesn't have any of my search results. So when I look up, say Amanda Gorman, and I see that my channel appears, it's not. I know it's not because Google's taken into account my search results because again, it's an incognito tab. It doesn't take any of that
Right.
into account. So that's another strategy I use to make sure that my things are ranking in search.
Got it. Got you. So by doing a search yourself, it puts your video into the pile of searches for Amanda Gorman, or
Oh no, the search I do on my own through the incognito tab just allows me to see that it's ranking in search on YouTube and
ah,
it's not influenced by my own search results for my account. Because if I look something up, such as I don't know, I love LeBron James, right? If
right,
if I look up something pertaining to basketball, I'm gonna get a lot of LeBron James results because YouTube
right,
is trying to send me stuff that's tailored to what I like. But I don't want that in this case. I want to see if I'm getting my YouTube name regardless of what my search results regardless of what my search results are.
got it.
Because I look up a lot of poetry content on YouTube. So of course, if I look up poetry content, my channel is going to show up, but I want to make sure it's showing up for people who don't look
I
at
see.
poetry content. So that's what the incognito search is for.
Gotcha. So how do you do an incognito search?
I mean, you simply make an incognito window. Google Chrome has it.
Oh,
Usually,
okay.
yeah.
Just
and
a
then
separate window.
Yeah, separate window, and then you type in YouTube.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I just haven't heard that term before. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not just a separate window. It's I don't know how to explain it, but typically on Google Chrome, the top 3 dots on the top right,
Yeah.
you just click on that, and then from there you're going to see new tab, new window, and then new incognito tab.
Wow, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. When you click on that, that allows you to search without any of your search results being saved, but also it doesn't take into account your past search history. So
Right.
what you're being shown isn't influenced by what you've already watched. Yeah, if that makes sense. So that's really come in handy for my YouTube channel as well, because I know how to rank and search better now.
I've never recognized that. Probably because I don't click the 3 dots. I just click the plus sign to get a new tab. Wow. Right. Okay. This is awesome. I just learned something. Because you kept saying, I was like, incognito tab. What is that? Okay. Okay. Because that makes a lot of sense because, when you do a search, obviously that's going to stay within your search realm and they're going to show, what you've been searching. But that doesn't mean if you search what I just searched that you're going to see the same thing that I saw. So
exactly.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's good to know. Okay, cool. All right. So have the poets that you've reacted to reached out?
So Brandon Leake, this was crazy. The thumbnail I had for his video was very clickbaity. It was very clickbaity. So when he came across my video, he was like, "Who is this guy?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then apparently he watched it, really liked my reaction to his audition, and I saw him. He came to Houston to perform not long after that. And when I introduced myself and said, I do poetry on YouTube, he's like, "Wait a minute, I remember you." And he's like, "Yeah, you said something like overrated in your thumbnail." And I'm like, "Oh no, that was just yeah, I love you, man." Yeah.
What was the thumbnail?
It was me kind of like looking like this at his picture and being like, I don't know. Yeah. But then when you watch the video, you realize I'm totally I love that guy. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, no, he's a good dude, man. I talked to him the other day, man. He's doing some awesome things. As a matter of fact, he just announced that he's having another child, and it's a boy.
Yeah, I saw on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, now I think it's very important for poets to connect and stay connected to assist each other in the growth of the poetry industry. I think it's really important to elevate each other because building the poetry industry, you can't do it alone. That network has to be strong. So, if Brandon's doing something, I'm right there sending him a text message saying, "Man, keep going, man. I see it." Because that's what it takes, because you can see him doing some awesome things, but you never know what he's going through mentally, because I know I do some top-notch stuff from what I'm being told. But sometimes I'm like, that was all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's just something that I do. It's easy for me. And so in my eyes, it doesn't look like super major, so the people that said, or that the people that were downplaying your YouTube channel, what are they saying now?
Now they're saying things like, "Oh, congratulations on hitting 5K. Right. You're going to hit 10K by the end of the year. You might even go higher than that." Meanwhile, these people were rolling their eyes before, But there's that. I don't really pay much attention to it. At the end of the day, The few people whose opinions I really care about have always been supportive. So that's what I keep my focus on, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you been able to replace that second job with YouTube?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm making almost as much as that one, but I want to be able to make more.
Yeah.
So at this rate, that's going to be sometime this summer. If
Nice.
I look at the YouTube analytics
Right.
very often, and I'm seeing the trend my channel's going on. I'd say midsummer. Yeah, I
Okay.
can do the job and just stick with YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you plan for this to be what you do as far as YouTube and it being your full time?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not so sure. My parents are very traditional, not in a bad way. I'm just saying they kind of grew up thinking that, you know, STEM jobs are the way to go. And
Mhm.
I definitely like, you know, science and math and all that. And that's why I've been studying it. Uh, so even if I could make enough money just off of YouTube alone and do full time, I'm not sure I would. All I know is I want to do poetry for the rest of my life. That is all I know. So if I'm doing poetry and I'm a janitor, that's fine by me. If I'm doing poetry and I'm a doctor, that is fine by me. At the end of the
Right.
day, if I'm doing poetry, I'm fulfilled. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I've never really had a big strong desire to do like a certain career, as if like if I don't hit that career, I'm not doing my passion. My passion is poetry, and I can do any other career and do poetry. William Carlos Williams, who's one of the best poets in American history, he was a doctor. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
a legitimate doctor. He had his own practice and everything, but he was a poet.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's that's the beauty of this job, uh, of this craft, I should say. You don't need to have a great singing voice. You don't need to have athleticism. Like all these things where you just can't like work for it. So long as you have words, so long as you can
Right.
write on a page or speak, that is enough to make poetry. And because of that, doesn't matter what career path you have, you can do it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good statement to make and a good statement for others to hear, you know, because again, for a lot of people who want to do poetry, most people need to see it first and to kind of solidify it for them. There are a few people that say, I can be the first, you know, without seeing somebody do it, you know, but that's why I wanted to make sure that the Poet Life podcast invited people and poets to be an example, you know, and we get comments and DMs all the time like, man, thank you for the information, for the inspiration, you know, because for the longest I've been trying to figure out how. And so that's why I try to um, disclaim before, you know, like before you come on, other guests, like give me the game, tell me what the journey was like, you know, your feelings with it and how you got from point A to point B, you know. And so I appreciate the information that you're sharing with me, man. I'm excited to see where your channel goes, because what I do see is, you know, you're doing a lot more because of your YouTube page.
Yeah.
You know, those opportunities are going to come, and the fact that you're not just reviewing or reacting, but you're a poet as well, so you can go perform somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Has that presented itself because of your YouTube channel, or?
No, this is probably the second opportunity that I've had as a result of my YouTube
Cool.
channel. My first was that social media project. There was
Okay.
a fellow poet on YouTube who caught wind of my stuff and invited me. And even though that didn't work out, at the very least, that told me that YouTube will open doors for me. And like if a door closed, it closed for a reason, and I shouldn't worry myself about that. So yeah, And then you asking me to hop on the channel, hop on this podcast. I'm so appreciative of that. Honestly,
Yeah.
I felt like I was undeserving. But I really, really, really appreciate that. This is another sign that YouTube will be opening more doors.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm glad that you felt that way. The reason I say that is because now did you feel that way because of the level of poets and people that I had on, or is that okay? Got you.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I want to create a level of exclusivity, and it's not being selfish or anything like that. That is making the poets that want to come on, make them work harder. You know, because I do get DMs saying, "Hey, I just wrote a poetry book, or it's coming out soon, or something like that." But that's not what this podcast is for. It is not to highlight you and promote you. It is to uplift the community and build the industry. And now, if you have something to teach and to show us how you did what you did, then let's do it, right? And so that's what this is about. I get the I think I've lost a friend because I didn't just put him on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
I'm like,
I can tell from the caption for this podcast, uplifting the poetry community, building the poetry industry. That's
yeah,
what this is about, not uplifting ourselves. And I completely
right.
get that.
Yeah, and I wanted to make it as clear as possible because I knew that was coming. You know, I have a lot of poetry friends, but most of them get it. They're like, "Yo, I gotta work. I gotta put some work in before I can get on his platform." You know, and really, it's not my platform. It is the poetry industry's platform. My goal is to be the podcast, the voice for the industry. You know, and teach poets that and what I really like about it is when I say teach poets, it's not me teaching, it's the people that we bring on, you know, because most people are like, well, who are you to be teaching? You know, I get it's just like, dude, good gracious, man. I just appreciate everybody's willingness to give the instructions, be the example, and know that what they're doing and what they've done is valuable. Like what you're doing, because again, you might feel the same way I feel. Like, you know, this is just something I'm doing. You know, I don't see it as me doing something so great, you know, but like in other people's eyes, like you're paving a way.
Wow, thank you. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So you'll start to see soon other poets reacting to poems, and because I know it's been in poets' mind because it was in my mind.
Mm.
You know what I mean? To do reactions, because I watch reactions. I'm like, why is nobody reacting to all of these awesome poems out here?
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, I can't do podcast reaction. I'm not, you know, I want to focus on one thing. And so when I saw your page, I was like, yes, awesome. You know, other people would be like, man, he did it before me.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I had that idea first. Like I told you earlier, there's no poetry industry with one poet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's no poetry industry with one poet making all the money.
Right.
That's not an industry. You know,
Yeah.
we need as many poets as possible figuring out how to make money and do deals and partnerships because the community is for the love, is for the camaraderie, you know, is for the uplift. But the industry is where the deals are made, the transactions are made, The networking is set, right? So I think I have this conversation often. Like, how do you choose, or why should you choose between? I'm not saying that you should choose between the community and the industry, but you should choose whether or not you're just going to be in the community and then you're going to do open mics and you're just going to write for the love of it. And you need to choose also whether or not you want to get paid for it. Because I'm sure you get this also, poets being mad at other poets who want to make money for their poetry.
And honestly, I don't see what's wrong with that whatsoever. In fact, I would argue the best way to uplift the poetry community would actually be to secure the bag, if anything.
Right.
Because some people want to join the poetry community, but they're like, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of people huddled around a fire, just telling stories to each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, there are ways to secure the bag. And if you show other people that, then they'll be more willing to join the community.
Indeed. Exactly. And that's all it is. It's not, incorporating capitalism and poetry and all of this other stuff. It's like, I love this art and I would love to do it for a living. That's it. It's nothing less, nothing more, man. And because you would never ask a rapper or a singer to do something for free.
Right. And why is this?
Why would you ask him? Why is it the poet that has to get? Come on, it's art. So yeah, man. Thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing your Saturday with me. It's Saturday morning. Well, it was noon. Yes, well, Saturday afternoon with me, and I don't want to monopolize, your whole weekend, but I really appreciate, you coming on to the podcast. I'm excited about people hearing about your page and your reactions and showing others that there are a lot of lanes that you can dominate in that are untapped in poetry.
Yeah. Honestly. So many new roads that are yet to be paved. I can't wait to see what becomes of this podcast specifically, but then of the poetry community in the years to come.
Totally. I appreciate that for sure, man. So we need to talk, man, offline and see where we can, benefit each other and just, uplift each other in what we're doing. But I told you in the DMs that I have some opportunities for you that I think, will work well with what you have going on as far as your channel and everything. So we'll definitely connect. But if you could leave something with the people to kind of inspire them as far as their poetry career, what would that be?
The biggest thing I would say is love your art. It's one thing to expect other people to, but if you can love yours, that's what matters most of all. I know a lot of poets who are great at what they do, but at the end of the day, they don't enjoy what they read. They don't enjoy the work of their own that they read. And if there's anything I got to recommend, is that you love your art. It's worth loving. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that, value your art.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first part. Love your art, right? But value it, because your art has value. And that speaks to why you should be compensated for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, the whole notion of the starving poet, that is one thing I hope dies. I'll be the first. Seriously. I'll be the first to burn that notion.
Yeah. But it's really out of ignorance.
Yeah.
It's not negative ignorance. It is the lack of knowledge, not knowing that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So with the ignorance, we celebrate it. That's why you get the when you tell people that you're a poet, They say, "Oh, you're a rapper," because they don't know that there's a poetry industry.
Right. Yeah.
He really can't mean that he's a poet, because poets don't make any money. That's their mindset.
Yeah.
You
But I have
know,
confidence that'll be changing for sure. And I
if
don't
I
even mean because of me, but there's many young artists who I have yet to have spoken of who are doing some great things. Even people among my poetry slam team, even though we're not like together as a team anymore, we're branching out and doing our own stuff. And I'm so proud of each and every one of them.
right, yeah, I'm so passionate about building the industry, and what I need people to understand is, again, there's no industry with just one person or poet. So my mission is to show as many poets as possible that it is possible to make this a career. And I'm going to show as many examples as possible on this platform and beyond. And from week to week, there's 52 weeks in a year. You know, that means I'm going to have at least 52 people showing each year, you know, and you're one of them, man. And so I appreciate you, man. Look, it's the Poet Life Podcast. It's Kendrick Youngblood. Thank you. Oh, what's your channel?
Youngblood Poetry. I kind of wish I had said that earlier. Yeah. My channel is Youngblood Poetry. Definitely check it out, everyone. I'm sure there'll be something there for you.
Totally. And trust me, it is. That's why I have him on, man. And it's been months since I've been watching him. So it's the Poet Life Podcast. If you need any more information about what we have going on, go to thepoetlife.com. If you need some gear, go to poetlifegear.com, and we got you. We need representation. Just imagine walking down the street and you have Poet Life on. Somebody's going to say, "Oh, you're a poet. I got an event. You want to come perform?" And we're paying. You'll be a walking billboard. That's how we're going, man. It's the Poet Life Podcast. Everybody have a great weekend. Kendrick, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way. Ain't got no time now. You in the way.